Welcome to AshTalksBall, a new little project for me to talk about my two favourite passions. One, good old traditional football, and secondly, the American version. I'm going to do this through True Trains, the first of all, which I think is the best league in the world, which is the EFL Championship. And for this season, I'm going to be doing prediction videos weekly, and I'm going to be doing discussion points. This is going to be the main crux of the channel. I love the EFL Championship. As an Ipswich fan, I've spent most of my life in this division, and I just love talking about it. I've been inspired by so many great content creators on here who I've enjoyed their videos, and it's just time to put my 2 pence forward, and I'm looking forward to do this project. Like I say, the second strain is going to be NCAA college football when that starts at the end of August. I love American football, love the NFL, but I just think the college football is so fun to talk about. So many different teams, so many different storylines, and you'll be getting videos from that as well. So without further ado, now the World Cup's over, it's time to restart talking about the best league in the world, which is the Championship, and we're just under a month away now, and I'm going to do an early 1 to 24. It might be my final one depending on what changes, but I'm really looking forward to digging down to the Championship with you guys. So thanks for joining me, and let's get going with this 1 to 24 for the 26-27 EFL Championship. So I think this is going to be a pretty common 24th place. I know it's the favourites of the bookies, and that's going to be Lincoln City. When you lose a manager like Michael Scabala, who had done such a great job building up that Lincoln team over the last few years in League One and had an all-time season last year, completely dominant team, it's going to be difficult. They've had success with the duo managers before, Cohen and Shaw, both lacking in experience this time. I don't know if it's going to be the same as what happened with the Cowleys a few years back, but if anyone can make it work, it's probably Lincoln. Not much transfer business to speak of as of yet. Only Callum Elder has come in on a free, but there are rumours of there is money to spend there for Lincoln, so it's going to be difficult. Central Bank is always a difficult place to go. As an Ipswich fan, I've had bad experiences there, let me tell you. So if they can make the home a fortress, interesting to be what style they're going to do. Obviously promoting internally, I'd expect to have a similar style, but we'll wait and see. It's going to be difficult for Lincoln. Let's not beat around the bush. If they had kept Scabala, I think they could have had a real good shot, because I think his style could be really well suited for the blood and thunder of the Championship. But with him gone, with limited transfers done so far, it's got to be Lincoln at 24th. 23rd is a bit of a risky one for me. I've gone with Blackburn. Blackburn are quite a yo-yo team, but not in the traditional sense. Yo-yo teams normally go up from the Premiership to the Championship and up again. Blackburn are that just within the Championship, which I guess just makes the Championship just an incredible division. So they had a really, really bad season last season. Michael O'Neill came in, done an amazing job to save them. I thought they were gone, but he kept them up. If they'd have kept him as manager, I probably wouldn't have them to go down. But obviously I love Tony Mowbray, Ipswich legend, but I just don't think that's what Blackburn needed. The ownership's always a bit of a crazy situation at Blackburn. I just don't trust this team. They've been linked with a couple of strikers, but no major incoming's done yet. They've got a lot of work to do. I don't know how people are looking at Blackburn. I personally think they're going to be in trouble, as you can tell by this 23rd place finish. But I think this could be one of the teams with the most variance if Mowbray gets it right, which we know he can do. He's been a very good manager at this level before. Then they could finish like 7th, well, maybe not 7th or 8th. I don't think they'll be a playoff team no matter what they do. But they could have a lot better finish than what I've got and predicted here. So I'm taking a risk for this one, but I've got Blackburn in 23rd. 22nd and the final relegation spot, I've gone with Charlton. It's a difficult one. Like, I have faith in Nathan Jones to get the absolute maximum out of his team. I think his style is well suited for the Championship, which has been proven over the years throughout numerous teams, but haven't been inspired by their transfer business so far. The decline that they had in the second half of last season was pretty worrying, and they had a really good first half of the season. They were near the playoff places, I think, in November, December, and then just had a real poor end of the season. They spent big last season. I'm not sure if they're going to do that again this season. I think they need to if they're going to want to stay up. Charlton is a team I worry about. I like going to Charlton. I like Charlton. I think they're a really good club, really well supported, well run club, but I just don't think this is going to be the season for them. Is it going to be the sophomore slump? It's always difficult when it is your second season back in the division. They managed to survive last season and without a great win over Hull, but I think it's going to take a lot of work for them. Like I say, I hate betting against Nathan Jones because I think this could make me look a bit silly without any like serious transfer incomings. I know they're signing Caelan Grant, which I think will be a good signing. He's very experienced at this level, and I think he will improve that team. I think there's a lot of work to do, and at the minute I think Charlton are probably going to head back to League One at the second attempt. Okay, next up, and just avoiding relegation, is the second of the newly promoted sides, and I've gone for Cardiff. Really impressive season for Brian Barry Murphy. It's his first season at Cardiff. Really good developing youth, really good style of play. They come up with momentum. Sometimes it just take that step down to League One just to bring yourself to reset and bring yourself back up, because Cardiff were on a steady decline after their relegation from the Premiership. So they've reset, they've got a good young manager and they've got a good young core. I do have a bit of trepidation that style will struggle to translate to the Championship. I think Barry Murphy will have to do some adaptation to his system on a week-to-week basis, but I think he's the kind of coach that can do that. He trusts youngsters. Again, they've been quiet in the transfer window. I am recording this late July, so obviously there's still plenty of time for these teams to get business done. So I am optimistic for Cardiff to stay up, and I think that just has to be the goal. This is going to be a brutal Championship season. The top of the Championship, I think, is going to be so strong this season, especially when you compare it to last season when the top was relatively weak behind the top team, which was Coventry by quite a way. So this season is going to be tough, and I think for teams coming up from League One, teams that have been having difficulty to stay in the Championship over the last couple of years, just survive this season. I don't think this is the season to try and push the boundaries too much, get the job done, and I think Cardiff will do that. And with their young core, a young manager, this is one of the managers I could see getting plucked. If one of the top teams have had a slow start, that would be my main worry for Cardiff at the moment. I think their manager will be one of the hot names, especially if Cardiff do get off to a relatively decent start. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I think Cardiff are going to stay up. Next up, and I think this would be a slightly disappointing finish for their fans. I think they're going to be expecting a bit more consolidation after spending a couple of years in the division, and that's Portsmouth. I really do rate John Mousinho. He knows that team. There's been a model of consistency for Portsmouth ever since he got there and got them promoted from League One. This is going to be their third season back in the Championship now, so I really do think their fans will be expecting to push on towards the top half. But like I said in the previous segment, going to be a tough Championship. Portsmouth are investing money, it looks like. The new financial rules in the Championship do seem to have give some teams some wiggle room when it comes to transfers. So Portsmouth, who have not been the biggest spenders in the last few years, are looking like they're going to spend money. Looks like they're going to get the Serbian striker, which is going to be... Goals obviously was a brutal thing for Portsmouth last year. Colby Bishop just fell off a cliff. Chaplin's loan didn't work out. Obviously the goal of Segicic was huge, and I think that might be the case again. But they're spending money, they're giving it a go. Fratton Park, never going to be an easy place to go to. Make that a fortress, and I think they'll be quite comfortably safe. I think there's going to be a gap after Portsmouth. I think this is where I'd leave the line of a tier list. But I think Portsmouth will be okay, although I think their fans would probably be disappointed with this finish. Preston is an interesting one. When I started this exercise, I did think that I'd probably be expecting Preston to go down. Obviously, Heckenbottom, vastly experienced Championship manager. Again, this division is stacked with experienced Championship managers who I really do not want to bet against. Preston have been a side that lacked investment. Obviously, the signing of Alfie Devine on a permanent deal is absolutely mammoth for them, and that's probably the sign of intent that I needed to back Heckenbottom to get Preston, relatively comfortable this season. They are going to have to get a striker. I know they signed Arabi, who we have seen in the Championship before. Didn't go great. Hopefully they can get more out of him. They're always going to be a good defensive team under Heckenbottom. I don't think the floor's going to fall out, and I think they're going to be pretty safe. I don't think we'll be going to the final day and Preston will be worrying. And for them, I think that's going to be a success. If Devine is a real hit, obviously top-end Championship side wanted Devine, and it's a huge boon that they got him on a permanent basis after his fantastic loan. Then maybe they can push on towards the middle of the table, maybe. But I think a safe, solid season for Preston here. Not really in any danger, and look forward to the future. Next up, we have QPR, and that is always a difficult team. Not a bad first season under Julian Stefan. Inconsistent, like QPR always seems to be right now, no matter who their manager is. But they've got good young attacking players. Kone and Burrell, if they keep hold of them, I think they'll be a really good attacking duo. They've got some good young wingers who they bought last year, like Poku, who they really need to kick on. They've got the young talent. They've improved goalkeeping, which was an issue for them. I think Pierce Charles is a very shrewd signing to have him on loan from Manchester City. I think he'll stabilise that. And then with a midfielder like Varane, QPR do have a really good spine of the team that you can point at and say, yes, QPR can be a team that push forward. The manager worries me a little bit. The inconsistent worries me a lot. And again, the real tough championship season. So I think QPR will be pretty comfortable. No real danger of relegation, but not really pushing towards that next step, which will be a top half finish and then a potential playoff push. But I think overall a good solid season for the young QPR team. 17th place is another risky one for me. Watford are a team I just have no idea what to do with. I thought about putting them lower than this. Obviously, Watford do what they do. They hire a manager and they're going to give him a go. If it doesn't work, he'll be gone in 6 games. If it works, he'll probably get them in the top half, potentially higher. It's just what Watford do. Obviously, as I'm recording, Loser is still here. Iran Kunda is still here. Jack Kavadze is the only one who's gone. Business to do here. The Pozzo family do spend. They're not scared to. They're doing some deals with Udinese to get some players in from their other teams. I really did think about putting Watford lower because I do think this is an unsustainable path. But they've sustained it for quite a long time. So maybe I'm just a ye of little faith. We'll go for a lower mid-table finish. Not into any danger, but no scare of pushing for the playoffs. I really don't know what to do with Watford. This was the one I had the most difficulty doing. I really was tempted to put them to be relegated, but I just don't think the floor's going to fall out just yet. And we'll see how Dionisi does. Maybe he's going to be a quality manager, which they have done before. But Watford, tell me what to think, Watford, because I really don't know. Okay, so I think this is probably one of my biggest shouts from this video, is that I have Bolton finishing here as the highest placed and promoted side. Steven Schumacher has obviously managed in the Championship before. It did not go great at Stoke. Bolton have done a lot of their transfer business early, so I think they'll be good to get them acclimatised. There is still plenty to do. Obviously, Akojo Dewsbury is not going to come back, who was a big part of their promotion campaign. He's probably going to go to a top-end Championship club, so that's going to be pretty impossible to replace that kind of production and that level of impact. They've got a couple of players in from Scotland early. I think they're going to be good. They're going to be settled. They've got Stevenson, the youngster, in from Liverpool, who I think will be a good member of this team. The Reebok, sorry, I know it's not called the Reebok anymore, but it will always be the Reebok to me. The Reebok is never an easy place to go. I think they'll have a good home edge, and I think Bolton are going to surprise some people. This is probably one of my more outlier predictions. I've got a pretty good feeling about Bolton, so we'll see how it goes. They need to get off to a good start, get the Reebok going, and I think Bolton could be safe and not have any real issues in their first season back in the Championship in quite a while. In 15th place, we have pretty much where they're normally predicted, is Bristol City. New manager, obviously, Michael Skubala, coming in with a very set way of playing, which is going to be very different to the Manning and Struber of the last couple of years of Bristol City. They're going aggressive for strikers. They've got Talage in from Plymouth, which I think will turn out to be a good signing. And they've also been heavily linked with Don Ballard. I don't know if they are going to get both. Obviously, Skubala knows them very well from scouting them for last couple of seasons in League One. So I have faith in Skubala. He's a good manager. He knows what he's doing. He's proven that at Lincoln. He can build a culture. He can build a team. It's a weird one. They were an aging team. They needed a refresh. We'll see what happens with Bristol City here. I think a mid-table is pretty likely. I don't think there'll be any danger. Skubala's style does fit into the Saturday, Tuesday, real hard, real physical games of the Championship. So I think Bristol City will be fine. Will they have the upside to push on to the top half and try and get into the playoffs? I don't think so, unless Talay or Ballard, if he does sign, does turn out just to be, really capable at this level. Up and down on Bristol City, but I think a solid season just to consolidate the new manager and go from there. Stoke. Haven't finished in the top half since their relegation from the Premiership. They're going for it. I'll give him that. Obviously, the Ethan Galbraith signing is a huge sign of intent. It's a huge fee to pluck from your Championship rivals. So really, really good signing for Stoke. It shows they're going to go for it. They tied Johansson down Johansson, who I think is one of the better goalkeepers in the division, to a new contract. We'll see if he stays. There has been more links of a Premier League. Sorba Thomas, there's been no news on as of yet. Obviously, another super experienced Championship manager in Mark Robins, I have the utmost respect for. I hate betting against Mark Robins, but after last season, again, another team that had such a great start. Stoke were in the top 4 going into the new year, I believe, and then it just fell apart. I know they had injuries. I know they were playing youngsters. Man, that collapse was rough. It was rough to watch. I'll put some faith in Mark Robins just to steady the ship. I can't put him in the top half yet. I think they need another year of growth and consolidation and just building this squad up to build that depth, to build that consistency. Stoke will be safe. I'm pretty confident on that, but I think they'll be pretty unremarkable and building for the future. So 13th place, I've gone for West Brom. Last season was a disaster until James Morrison comes in. Amazing job by Morrison to keep them in the division. I thought West Brom were goners along with Blackburn, but they managed to get themselves out of it. Really innovative managerial, going with 2 up front, and it was an amazing job, and he does deserve the job. I think they're going to be completely safe. I do have faith in them. West Brom have always been a real solid Championship side, and I think they do have a capable manager. I was very impressed with what I saw last season when they played Ipswich. Their second off from last game of the season, they were really good, and Ipswich were very happy to come away with a point there, which proved pretty vital in the end. So they haven't done too much business yet. Jimmy J Morgan had a really good loan spell at Peterborough last season. Let's see if he can adapt to the Championship now he's joined on a permanent from Chelsea. But they have some more business to do. If they get another couple of pieces in, then I think West Brom could push on to maybe finish in the top half. And now the playoffs are 8, maybe. I won't write it off. This is the line where I think that the first team could really push for playoffs if things go their way. But good, solid, after last season, a really solid season for West Brom, just to get their feet back under them. Top half, and the first team cracking the top half for me in 12th is Swansea. Vitor Matos did a really good job once he came in last season. Obviously, when you have the Championship's top goal scorer, that helps. As of recording, Zan Popotnik is still a Swansea player. I highly doubt that will be the case. But if it is, I mean, then that will be a huge boon for them. But we'll see about that. They are spending money. Obviously, they did lose Ethan Galbraith. They're using the money. They're looks like they're going to spend $5 million on Just from Motherwell, who had a good World Cup for New Zealand. So we'll see how that goes. I trust Swansea to find strikers. I mean, for my adult life, it always seems like Swansea have just had a really good striker. It's just how it is, from Wilfred Boney to Joel Peru to Mishu to Ayu. They've just always had these random strikers that they pick up and then they just become great, and then they sell them on for a lot of money. And obviously Vopotnik's probably the next one of that. So I have faith in Swansea to find a striker if Vopotnik goes. I have faith in Matos, who plays a really nice style of football. If they can get a good home form going there, which they did at the end of last season, I think Swansea could push on. I did think about putting Swansea a little bit higher, maybe even pushing for that last playoff spot, but the potential loss of Vopotnik, I think, is going to be a bit too much to overcome. But really good season for Swansea, mid-table, especially if they do lose Vopotnik, and then they can push on and keep going in next season. Another team that I was unsure what to do with is in 11th place, and that is Sheffield United. I know the bookies fancy him, and I think that's probably just the Chris Wilder effect. Another vastly experienced, successful Championship manager who knows what it takes to get out of this division. Sheffield United is a powerhouse at this level. Obviously, their finances are looking to be proven an issue. They had to sell Andre Brooks to Norwich. Further sales might be on the way. Gus Hamer's still there at the moment. Sidney Peck's still there at the moment. Harrison Burrow's still there at the moment. If they do end up losing 1 or 2 of these, it's going to be real difficult to replace. At the minute, they're all still here, so that's what I've got to go on. So I ended up putting Sheffield United outside the playoffs. They were in there for a little bit. Chris Wilder knows what he's doing. He knows how to get this team up, and I do have faith in that. But like I said earlier in the video, the Championship's so tough. The top 5, 6 in this league are going to be real good teams, I think. So I've got Sheffield United just missing out. I don't know how much more business they can do, but they do need to do some. So pressure's on Sheffield United. Let's see what they do in the transfer window. It's going to be a big month for Sheffield United. If they get this next 6 weeks right, I think they could be a playoff team. But the minute I've got them just missing out. Into the top 10 we go, and we have Wrexham. Wrexham have had a slow start to the transfer window after a good first season in the Championship. To be in the playoff race on the first day, on the final day of the season, in your first season in this division for a long time, that's got to be considered a successful season. I know they spent a lot of money last season, and I think they're probably going to do the same. They need to look at the goalkeeping situation, which they were totally not happy with last season. Okonkwo and Ward, they need some stability there. And the rumour there is Patterson from Sunderland, which I think would be a really good signing. Obviously, they've got some real quality throughout the spine of the team. Doyle in central defence is one of the best centre defenders in the Championship. They've got Ben Chief and Lewis O'Brien, two fantastic centre midfielders for this level. Kiefer Moore is a fantastic target man and point of attack at this level. And I think they will try and improve striker again after failing to do so in January with the Dave Keeler-Dunn signing that just did not work. And then you've got people like Broadhead and obviously their star man, Josh Windass, who can carve anyone up on his day. So Wrexham are going to be pushing for promotion. I think there's going to be a tight playoff race, which is what the EFL wants for going to top 8, getting into the playoffs now. So Wrexham are going to push it all the way again. They're going to invest again. They're going to go for it again. I've got them just missing out, which is going to be disappointing. What will that mean for Bill Parkinson? I don't know. They'll love them there, obviously, for the back-to-back promotions. We'll see what the owners do if they do fail. But I've got them just missing out. I could see them getting in the playoffs very easily, especially with the right investment. But we will see for Wrexham, who just miss out on the playoffs for me. 9th place, and the last team to miss out on a playoff spot is Burnley. Obviously, Burnley's manager search was a crazy situation this year. After sacking Scott Parker in the Premiership, they didn't hire their manager until last week. They've got a manager from Belgium who, obviously, Burnley, Championship, Belgium manager, the story writes themselves. But I think it's going to put their managerial search is going to put them way behind the 8 ball. Very little transfer business done. Some important players lost, like Jayden Anthony, Stev, the centre-back, he's moved on. They've got a lot of work to do if they're going to be up there with the top teams in this division. Obviously, Burnley have been the definition of a yo-yo club, up, down, up, down. I don't think it's sustainable to do it 3 times in a row. So I would not be surprised if Burnley miss out on the playoffs this season, or at the very least miss out through the playoffs this season. I don't think Burnley will be going back to the Premiership for the 3rd time in 3 Championship seasons. So Burnley, the last team missing out on the new expanded playoffs. And let's get into the playoff teams. So into the playoffs we go, and I've gone with Birmingham in 8th. Obviously, a lot of the media and YouTubers and fans in general fell for the Birmingham to go back-to-back like Ipswich did the season before. And it just did not work like that. Obviously, a solid finish in the end around mid-table for Birmingham, but with their investment and with their ownership, that is not what they wanted. So here they come again. They've kept with Chris Davis, which I think is the right decision. He's earned that opportunity to go again. They're going to invest again. James Beadle's a weird one for me to bring him back, but they have brought him back. Birmingham, they're going to invest. We know that. Birmingham, with their super ambitious owners, are going to go for it. There's no doubt about that. But they need to get this transfer window right. They haven't had a crazy start so far, but still plenty of time, like I'm saying, for all this team. Plenty of time, which is probably why I will end up doing another prediction video on the eve of the season. Once the transfer business is all pretty much sorted for most teams, there'll only be a couple of weeks left because of the late start of the season for the World Cup. So I'm buying the Birmingham stop to get into playoffs. So Birmingham in the playoffs, they take advantage of the new expanded playoffs by finishing 8th. So in 7th place, I have Millwall, coming off an amazing season last season in which they probably deserved automatic promotion. They were just pipped to the post by Ipswich. They go again. They haven't lost any of their big hitters yet so far. Obviously, Aziz has been linked with a couple of sides. He's still here. Kramer, the centre-back, is still here. Ivanovic is still here. They've made a couple of nice investments in midfield. They're trying to get younger in midfield. Obviously, Bannon moving on back to Sheffield Wednesday. Billy Mitchell moving on. So it's going to be a different Millwall midfield. But with the quality players still in the team currently, like Karma and Aziz and Ivanovic, there's going to be, I can't see too much regression from Millwall. I see a lot of people putting them further down, missing the playoffs. I don't see that. And again, another really experienced, good Championship manager who knows what he's doing. He knows how to win in this league. It's pretty crazy, the manager list in this league, really. But that's a side note and a video for a different day. I don't see Millwall dropping off too far. I've got them dropping off a bit, but I think they're definitely a solid playoff team. I'd be very disappointed if they did drop off out of the playoffs. They're very well run. They've got good ownership. They seem to have really good scouting. So I trust them with the people they're bringing in. Again, the league's just tougher this year. So I think they will drop a few places. But I think 7th is a really good season and they can have a really good go at the playoffs. But really good season for Millwall here. Sixth place, and look, it's another good, solid championship manager in John Eustace. I've gone with Derby in sixth, which I think will be a really nice season for them. John Eustace knows how to win. He knows what he wants, he knows what his team to do, and they will do it. Derby have been growing under Eustace for the last couple of years, and I think they will breach the playoffs this season. Agyemang's injury, obviously Achilles injuries are rough. I don't know how long he'll be out, but he won't be here for a lot of the season, so they're going to have to get goals from elsewhere. Obviously, they've got Carlton Morris. They'll probably look to bring in another striker. The only main business they've done so far is the permanent signing of Bobby Clark, which is fantastic, a really young asset for them to build around. It's probably one of my biggest outliers as well. I was seeing in some other videos that Derby are quite lower down in some people's predictions, but I just don't see that. I think Derby has such a high floor under Eustace, and I'd be shocked if they weren't in the playoffs. So this is probably one of my biggest shouts, but I think Derby are in for a good season. They're building with a good, solid manager, and I think Derby will make the playoffs. Fifth is everyone's favourite team, and that is Southampton. Obviously starting off on a -4 points deduction after Spygate. Fantastic transfer window for them so far. Signing Daniel Peretz permanently is pretty incredible. In the second half of the season, he was the best goalkeeper in the Championship last season. So to get him despite not going up is pretty incredible. Kyle Larin proved he can score goals at this level. So to get that done, fantastic. Lewis Dobbin joins from Aston Villa. Really good season at Preston last season. So I think in a team like Southampton, who will dominate the ball a lot of the time, I think he might be one of the players, the steals of the season. I think they signed him for 9 million, so it's a lot of money. So maybe I can't say it's going to be a steal of the season, but I think he and Azaz behind the strikers could be quite a deadly duo. Obviously, they're still going to potentially lose some players. Harwood Bellis is still here. Shay Charles is still here. Leo Cienza is still here. I highly doubt they'll keep all three. Yanel is also still here. There's going to be interest in all those players. So there's going to be some exits for Southampton. We'll see how many there are. If there's only one or two, potentially autos. I mean, the top two are going to be real strong this season. The -4, obviously, maybe it'll cost them a position. Maybe it'll cost them 2 positions. This is one where I think Southampton, if they keep hold of at least 2 or 3 of those names that I mentioned, then the sky's the limit for them, because they're going to be a really good team. So Southampton in 5th, potentially could finish higher. This is going to be one to revisit after the transfer window. 4th place, I have gone for Norwich City. Obviously a fantastic second half of the season last season, once Liam Manning was sacked and Philippe Clement come in. Norwich's recruitment is always top notch, especially in attacking positions. If Motor is going to be their main man next season, with his goals per minute ratio last season, I think Norwich are going to be difficult to stop. They've got a very set way of playing. They've got a manager who they believe in now. Obviously, as an Ipswich fan, I don't like saying this, but I think Norwich are going to have a real successful season. They haven't done too much business yet. I don't know how much they're going to do. Obviously, they're looking at fullbacks, which is their main need at the moment. They've got Cordoba at the back, who is kind of a beast for this level. So I think Norwich are going to push all the way for the top 2. They're going to be one of the top playoff teams, and I would not be surprised if Norwich are fighting up until the end for a place in the Premiership next season. 3rd place, and just missing out on promotion again. I'm sorry, Middlesbrough fans. I'm sorry. Obviously, a big season for Middlesbrough. Hackney going, which was inevitable. He was the best player by a mile in the division last season. So he moves on to Everton. They get a pretty good fee for him. And obviously the big news coming out the last couple of days for Middlesbrough is that Morgan Rogers is going to Chelsea for 117 million, which means Middlesbrough will get around 20 million of that. So that is a huge war chest, and it looks like they're going to be using a good portion on that on Will Lancashire from Tottenham, who had a great season on loan at Oxford in the division last season. Obviously, Middlesbrough was crying out for a goal scorer last season. Strelec just wasn't doing it. Conway was being played on the left. Did chip in with goals, but it just wasn't enough. They needed an out-and-out striker, and Will Lancashire proved that he can do that. He did it in a poor relegation side last season, and in a team like Middlesbrough, playing in the system that Hellberg does. I'm a real big fan of Kim Hellberg and the way he plays, with one of the best defences in the division, obviously with Melander, one of the best centre-backs in the division. They've got Aidan Morris, who's one of the best centre midfielders in the division. They've got Whittaker, who's real dangerous on his day. Lancashire, if he can make that step up, I think Middlesbrough are going to be a force to be reckoned with. I've had a miss out just again this season. Obviously, Middlesbrough, tough end to last season. losing in the playoff final after getting that reprieve through Spygate. I've got them finishing third again. If it wasn't for the two teams that came down from the Premiership and it looks like what they're doing, I would have Middlesbrough in my top two. But it's just not the season for Middlesbrough to get in that top two. I'm sorry, Middlesbrough. I'll be rooting for you because I love the way your manager, how your manager plays. But you're going to have to do it through the playoffs for me, and I think they definitely might. I would not be surprised if it's finally Middlesbrough's time to get back in the Premiership this year. But for me, it's through the playoffs. The top two is rather chalk. I've gone for Wolves in second to bounce straight back up to the Premier League. They've shown some intent with this kind of players they're keeping. They bring in Trippier, who is, very experienced, sound head. He'll be very, very good at this level. Last time he was in this division, he absolutely tore up for Newcastle. So I would not be surprised if he does the same. Obviously, he's aging, so he might not be able to do the Saturday, Tuesday. They signed Jimenez, obviously from Fulham. Fantastic signing. As an Ipswich fan, he was someone I thought we should look at for our return to the Premiership. But he's gone back to the emotional ties with Wolves. They've already got Armstrong, who is guaranteed goals at this level. It's just difficult to bet against this Wolves team. Obviously, the manager's a big X factor. I don't know much about him, but if he can get this ticking, I think it'll be hard for Wolves not to go up with their attacking qualities. Still, plenty of time left to go in the window. They've had their first major exit with Hal Gomez going to Aston Villa, but they've got the funds now to kick on, and I cannot see past Wolves to get automatic promotion back to the Premiership. And first place, to no one's surprise, is West Ham. Obviously, some mammoth sales, selling Mateus Fernandes to Tottenham, selling Somerville, who looks like he's going to Saudi, for a combined 160 million. The big news for West Ham, obviously, is Jarrod Bowen staying. He will be the best player in the division by a country mile. When I saw Jarrod Bowen playing the Premiership a couple of years ago against Ipswich, he was one of the best players I saw in the Premiership. Obviously, if Bowen stays healthy, West Ham should win this division by canter. Obviously, they're probably going to lose a couple more players. It looks like Wan-Bissaka's probably going to move on. They've got some good young players coming through that they're going to give a chance to. They looks like they're going to try and keep Castellanos, who I think will be another real crazy player to have in the Championship. I think West Ham are going to be the class division, and I'll be absolutely shocked if West Ham does not win the league. Obviously, plenty of time to go. That maybe they'll lose more players than I'm expecting. But with Bowen staying, I cannot bet against West Ham to get an automatic return to the Premiership as Championship champions. So that is AshTalksBall 1 to 24 early predictions for the 26-27 Championship. I'll put on the screen now a quick picture of the review of all of my predictions. So in a year's time, we can look back and laugh and see how silly I was for my first ever video on YouTube talking about football. So keep an eye out for more videos. Thanks for joining me. You'll see some NCAA football in August and some Championship throughout coming through them. So let me know what you think. Click the like if you enjoyed it. But thanks for joining me for the project. It means a lot, and I'm going to enjoy talking ball with you. See you next time.